Ladies and gentlemen, we as a side of our opposition don't believe that Russia is actually posing a threat. But we believe that we as a West are trying to enforce our interests by a NATO enhanced forward presence. It is only going to do more harm than good. We are only going to show it to how a NATO enhanced forward presence is basically counterproductive and it's self-defeating. And what we are going to prove to you in this debate are two basic things. First of all, we are going to talk to you about how NATO enhanced forward presence is supposed to increase the safety of Baltics and Eastern Europe, but instead it's just creating fear here. Second of all, we are going to show you how it is just unsustainable and going to defeat itself in the long run. Ladies and gentlemen, what is the basic thing we believe is that a world without NATO enhanced forward presence would be a better one, would be a more stable one, and would be one where the world feels safer, and especially in Eastern Europe and Baltics. And what we believe under the definitions of enhanced forward presence is currently a system of military presence and actions within Baltics and Eastern Europe and NATO, which means there are a few thousand troops scattered around Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and also Poland. Those are the soldiers provided by different NATO countries, for example, Britain, France, or the United States of America. What we believe, ladies and gentlemen, is the side of the opposition's burden to do in this debate is to show us how this enhanced forward presence is sustainable under the current times, because we believe that it is not just true. And the second thing, which we believe that the side of the opposition has to show us, is how people in the Baltics feel more safe when they have this enhanced forward presence. So, ladies and gentlemen, now let me move on to my substack. So, what is the first basic thing we need to realize is that currently the escalation of the conflict which we have with Russia it's arising, this escalation. Why is this escalation rising? Well, ladies and gentlemen, what is currently happening in Baltics and in Eastern Europe is that Russians are sending their forces closer to the borders with Europe, right? With the European Union. We can see that they are going to have a military training there soon, which is going to amount to 100,000 forces. And ladies and gentlemen, why are they doing so? Well, what are they doing is they are trying to strong arm us. And ladies and gentlemen, what we do is we are trying to play their own game. We are only playing under their rules. What we are doing when we are enhancing the forward presence in Baltics means that we are also escalating the tension. And what does that mean is that this can't really last for long, because this can last for long. And why? Because, ladies and gentlemen, this game can last forever. And why is this bad? Because when the Russians try to increase the amount of forces they have near the borders or they have near Baltics, what is that going to mean? Is that there is going to be a response from the NATO. And that is happening currently under the enhanced forward presence. We can see that the countries of NATO were forced to are going to raise the defense budgets by around 5%. And ladies and gentlemen, it's just further escalation. And why we believe that further escalation is bad? Well, ladies and gentlemen, 2 points here. First of all, further escalation can increase the tension, and when we have this tension on the points of the Baltics, it can potentially lead to kinds of things happening at the borders. And we believe those kinds of little conflicts or whatsoever may be harmful. Second thing, which is more important, is that NATO currently, well, people aren't really committed that fully to NATO, even currently. And when we are forcing them to further enhance their presence in Baltics, and when we are forcing the states of the NATO and the countries of the NATO to be more fully committed in Baltics, what is that going to mean? Well, we can see that currently there isn't really that much of, there's currently not really that much of interest from the countries in committing into NATO. They are currently, as we can see, that when NATO countries are being forced to defend their other neighbors, they are not really that committed. And what we believe that, if, as I have shown you, the enhanced forward presence is unsustainable and in the long run is just going to need to lead us out of more resources, what is that going to mean? That more countries are going to be more not committed to the NATO. And we believe this is bad because the countries may not be fully committed to NATO and may even step out of it. Yes, sir.
Would you rather have these countries remain unmilitarized and left to be annexed like Crimea?
Annexed by Crimea? How can countries be currently annexed by Crimea? I don't understand that point, but I think you meant annexed by Russia. But ladies and gentlemen, when I address this point, we need to realize that there are other ways we can sanction Russia. This is exactly the point, sanctioning them and having diplomatic relations with Russia. Because we can't really step up to their game. We need to play our own game and we need to defeat them in our game. because we can really defeat Russia at their own game, because they can go to the lengths to do anything they want. So we believe that the right thing we should do is not just to go into their game and instead use other things such as sanctions and so on. The second thing which we need to realize is that enhanced forward presence creates immediate attention. And what does this mean? When we have those soldiers stepping into the borders of the Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, what is that going to be? It's going to be a huge breaking thing for the newsletters and for the media. And what are media doing when they are reporting on soldiers near borders with potentially hostile country? Well, they tend to hyperbolize it. And that is currently what is happening. The media hyperbolize the situation in Baltics. They are tending to really focus on the things such as when there were submarines near the borders of the Baltics, the Russian submarines. The media made it a huge focus of theirs, especially in the Eastern Europe and in the Baltics. And what does this mean is that people in turn knew more about it, right? And when people knew more about it, that there is some kind of risk near their borders, what did that mean? Well, people felt more threatened by this because they knew of this risk and they knew of this threat. And ladies and gentlemen, what do we believe? Is that when we have EFP here and we have soldiers in Baltics, people are going to feel more threatened, especially when they in turn see soldiers coming near their houses. Because what people do when they see soldiers, they immediately associate soldiers with war, with potential war, and especially if they are the soldiers of their allies, and they know that there is a certain threat of Russia. And ladies and gentlemen, we believe that people are feeling not safe in turn. And this is exactly against the main purpose of the NATO. The main purpose of the NATO is to make people feel safe, and especially as in China's side of the opposition we're trying to show you that EFP is supposed to make people in Baltic safer. And what I have shown you right now, that people don't feel safer and people just feel more threatened in turn. So it's exactly self-defeating. Second thing that we need to realize is what happens when people do not feel safe in their own lives. They are not really able to live their lives to the fullest, right? What people do when they do not feel safe is, for example, we can see this on the example of terror attacks. When people knew that in certain areas there were higher chances of terror attacks, people did not go to those areas. And why? Because they felt that there is a certain chance that they may be harmed. And it is exactly what is happening currently in Baltics and in Eastern Europe. People feel threatened. They do not feel as safe as they could be, and they are not really living their lives to the fullest. And ladies and gentlemen, this is also exactly the thing that the enhanced foreign presence is doing. It is stripping the lives it is stripping the people of their basic chance to live their lives to the fullest, because they feel not safe. And when they see those soldiers coming around their houses, what they associate that with the war. And ladies and gentlemen, we don't want people to think that they are in a war with Russia. So ladies and gentlemen, two things on the side of the proposition. First of all, I have shown you how the enhanced forward presence is something unsustainable, which is just going to snowball out of control and going to harm more NATO in the return. And second thing, how this is creating more fear instead of safety in the Baltics and the region. Thank you.
The first speaker of the proposition team spent time 8 minutes.